Welcome to the Roundtable edition of Generations, a show which helps people 50 and better lead happy, healthy, and productive lives. Here's Nadia Giordana.
Hello, and welcome to Generations, the Roundtable edition. I'm Nadia Giordana. And my co-hosts today are Karen Risette.
That's right.
And welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
And Ellie Freed. Welcome to you too,
Thank
Ellie.
you. Thank you.
And we have two fun and interesting guests today. Farthest from me, Louise Griffith,
Yes.
who is a author, a speaker, and a psychologist. And she's the author of You Are Worth It, and we'll have you say some things about what you teach with that. And our other guest is Joan Kennedy. Welcome, Joan.
Thank
She bills herself as the oldest female motivational speaker in the country. Welcome. And today our subject is positivity. So let's talk about what you two teach about positivity. Start with Louise. Tell us a little bit about you and what you teach and what your book is.
So my book is most recent. It's on my mind. You Are Worth It, 52 Weeks to Honoring, Loving, and Nurturing Your Soul. And that was just released in October. So I was blessed to sell the first 500, and now I ordered 2,000 more.
Already just since
Yes.
November?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just came last week. They're
Good
in my
first
car.
month.
basically, no. So I really believe that we have a lot of choices, and one of them would be how we see life, how we see others. I teach my clients and actually have the practice myself. I try to pause quickly and then decide, is this going to be life-giving to myself, the relationship to the other person, or not? Is this going to add value or not? And if not, then I maybe often make a different choice. So it's not that things in life are always wonderful and hunky-dory, and yet if we choose to, I think we can find some good lessons. I think it's always more fun to look back when you've been through a hard time and say, oh, I see what I learned. But in the middle of it, it's like, I just don't think it's very fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose that you're helping people look inside themselves. How do you help them do that so that they maybe don't have to rely on hindsight when it's too late, but make some decisions as they go along?
Well, I think that one question I just said, I really do that. Is this going to be life-giving to me, to the relationship? I'm not the only one in the world.
Yeah.
You know, will this add value? And you know, some people actually don't want to go inside and be accountable. I had an interesting discussion with my sister 10 years older than I, and she was saying that sometimes there's a difference between people can't or they won't. And if someone really can't, like developmentally, or it's not that they're maybe a bad person, but it isn't anything they even think of. They'd rather blame others or be the victim, and if that makes sense. Not right, wrong, good, or bad, but uses up a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Now, the 52 weeks that you mentioned in the subtitle of your book, is it a little bit like a workbook? I haven't read your book yet, but I do intend to. Is it a little bit like of a workbook, or how does that work through the 52 weeks?
So I'll tell you what I'm liking about it, so pretend I didn't write it, because I am doing this with my friend in the UK. This week we did week 9, and that is Reclaim Your Personal Power. So what I appreciate about it is it's maybe like reading 4 or 5 paragraphs, like not too much. Then there's a section, I Am Worth It, Next Steps, with maybe 4 at the most 5 reflection items. Not too much. And if someone has never done much internal work, it's a great place to start. And if you've done more, you can go deep. And then there's I will stop, start, continue, and an affirmation, and that's it. So it doesn't take too long. And I find that during the week, I focus on that one thing from the week. I close the book, and then I'm more conscious of it.
So you can kind of take it in bits and pieces as much as you can absorb and work with at any given time.
I know people who are doing 1 a day. I'm doing 1 a week.
Yeah. But I was just going to say that I fall back on if it's 1 a day, and I think, oh, I'm 3 days behind. So your book, you know, you have all week to to do whatever it is that she wants you to do, and that inner work that she,
Absolutely, and you do a lot with positivity and positive thinking too, Joan. In
Yeah.
fact, one of your newest things that you were talking and teaching about is the four, is it the 4 steps to, is
it's
it
the 4 rules.
4 rules
of the game.
of the game of
of
life?
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about those rules.
Well, the one that's the positive chapter is to think and speak positively about yourself, because thought is the most creative element we have to work with. But if it isn't controlled, it's the most destructive force in our lives. Thinking about your day, yourself, your life, what you didn't do, the risks you didn't take. You can't go there. Maybe Louise has a different way, of bringing you in to your positive life and to look at the things. But most people just become sad, and because they aren't doing, they think, what they should be doing every day, But positive thinking is not Pollyanna, it's important. There was a study done at Yale University, a 20-year study, and they had 660 men and women, 50 years and older, and was 23. After the 23 years, they found that the men and women who thought positively about their own aging lived 7.5 years longer than those with negative attitudes, And you can Google this on the Yale study on aging and get all the information.
7.5 years longer just by thinking and feeling positive.
About yourself and about your aging. I mean, worrying and being negative about aging is a waste of time.
It certainly is.
It is, but you can't do anything about it. Just
So if it's out of your control, why worry about it?
Why
Waste
worry
it.
about
Yeah.
it, nag about it, and feel bad about it? It's much better to be alive and grow older than to be dead and always be 65. Right?
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Do we all do it in the same ways?
I just wanted to say I have a little quote about that
Oh,
very
good.
thing by someone named E. Joseph Kosman. If you want to test your memory, try to recall what you were worrying about 1 year ago.
Yes. Yes. Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Especially bringing the point to worry, where worry is so unimportant. Here it is 1 year later. Yeah, what were you worrying about 1
right.
year ago?
Yeah.
We don't know.
My husband often says, after going through a period where he's been really worried about something, he said, I need to remember, the things that I worry about the most never happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
true.
and another line I've used with my children, even my adult children, is I've said, you have to believe that live your life as if the best is going to happen.
Yeah.
If the worst comes along, if a period of what's worst of life comes your way, just have confidence that you'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, live your life as if the best
Yeah.
is going to happen.
I think that's true, and I think about some of the things that have happened in my life, and when the worst things are happening, it's like, okay, this is going to happen. We're going to have to go with it. It's like when your car catches the snow and you're going to go into the ditch. You just have to go with it. But then when it's over, the first thing I think of when a life situation has finally passed and things are settling down, it's like, okay, now that's over with. There probably won't be anything for a while. That's the positive part of it. It's like, okay, now that's over. There won't be anything for a while. And usually that's true.
I have, this week, I went to a funeral of one of my best friends. I've known her since 4th grade.
Oh, boy.
And so it was a very sad thing. She had a massive stroke about 2.5 weeks ago and was paralyzed on her right side and never spoke again.
It's hard to be
So-
positive on those things.
It is.
Yeah.
So we never got to say goodbye to her, you know.
Yeah.
But I've thought about quite a bit about this, and the positive side of it is that I got to know her that long,
Yeah.
since 4th grade. And we still, we have a group of friends who meets, which meets every month since, you know,
Wow.
high school.
And you'll be able to reminisce also
Yeah,
about
yeah.
her, because they knew her also, is that correct?
Right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
And and I've, you know, had a lot of chance to think about what a good person she was and what a good part of my life.
And that you had a lot of years, so that is part of the positive side of it. Sometimes people just only think, oh, woe is me, and this is a sad thing, but there's always something positive, and
Right.
that's what you need to focus on, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like thinking about it that way, and I try to do that when I'm in situations like that. I'm glad you
Yep.
brought that up.
My sister's husband is in hospice right now, so that's another sad thing.
Yes, it is.
But we do have a chance to speak to him and tell him how we feel about him, so that's a good thing about that.
Now, Louise, do you take clients? Do you coach clients? You do some coaching, is that right?
I do.
Is
I
this
have
a-
a private practice where I see people, and then I have coaching clients. And the coaching that I do really helps people get their thinking in alignment with what they define as success.
Because it all boils down
It
to
does.
the positive side of how we're thinking. Elaborate on that just a little bit.
Well, and I was just thinking when you were saying it, it's like you chose to right away think what was positive about that.
I'm sad, of course.
Of
but-
course, but you see, I think we can be both. It can be a yes and. Yes, I'm sad because you are. And this is what I appreciate about her as a friend or my situation. So I think, even just, I'm back to that pause word, but is there another perspective I can hold on this? It's just, I like the image of a kaleidoscope. You look at it, and even if you shift it just a little bit, you see a different image. And I can't change your kaleidoscope, I'm only in charge of mine. So,
Yeah.
And don't we need to remember that there's something important about grieving, about feeling bad for a time, and recognize the value of that
yes.
in our process of letting go.
I spoke the other night to a group of women who are in different stages of divorce, and that was my first point, is honor your grief.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a neighbor whose husband was killed in a snowmobile accident 5 years ago, and she was talking about that. And you have to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
don't-
you just
yeah.
can only be where you are, and that doesn't mean you still can't be grateful. for
I
some
don't
of
think,
the-
I don't think grieving is negative.
I was
No.
going to say that.
no,
It's
I don't
not
either.
really a negative. It's
No.
it's necessary. It's
It is.
sad,
Yeah.
but it's not it's not necessarily a negative. I think you're
No.
right.
Healthy.
I had a fire in 1988, and I lost not only the house, but I lost a business, 15 years at this business. And when I moved into a townhouse, I had no possessions, I had no furniture, I had nothing. No purse.
And you were 65
Five.
at the
I was
time?
65.
Yeah.
And I grieved.
Yes.
And I don't know how long I grieved. But then I reached a point where, okay, now we have to move on. And I said, I have to start reading about what is positive about being 65 and starting over, if you're going to, because I didn't think I was going to start over. And baby boomers hadn't turned 50, so 65 was really old,
That was the perception at the
Yeah,
time.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, I never thought about it before, but when I turned, when the fire happened and I lost everything, I thought of myself as being old, and when I read this article and it said the fastest growing age group are people in their 80s, and I thought to myself, well, I'm only 65. I can start over again. So, and I did, of course, I wouldn't be here now.
Well, so you read an article that helped springboard that positivity back.
I was supposed to find that. I believe that. I was supposed to find that particular magazine on aging, and it was an AARP. They used to, remember back in the 80s, it was called Modern Maturity.
I remember
I do
that
remember that.
magazine. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it still around? I don't know.
Yes, it's AARP now,
Oh, okay.
in which is so much better than Modern Maturity.
Yeah.
But anyway, there it was, and I saw it, and it changed my life, All of a sudden, I didn't,
Well, that's
fast-
the whole point and reason and benefit of these self-help books that are out there. There are a lot of them, but they're needed because
Yeah.
people need to read, they
Yeah.
need to reinforce, and they need to read more than one book on the subject.
Yeah.
At least that's what I do
Yeah.
to reinforce.
Yeah, if you just read 10 pages of a self-help book, of a book on spirituality, whatever it is that you need, 10 pages, you're going to get through it in an evening,
Yeah, a few pages a day.
A few pages a day.
It's funny, though, how you found that article.
Yeah.
Just at that, it's like, it's almost like things are sent to us
So-
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Or else we, suddenly, we are open to something.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's right. The desire to find something brings it to you. Desire is our greatest emotion. And, they say, I think it was Emerson. Emerson says it all. Beware of what you desire, for you will surely get it. So, but there it was. It was wonderful.
And that makes me think, as you were saying, something could have been in front of us for a long time, but we weren't.
We're ready for it.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't ours. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, but that's what life is about. It's out there. You get answers. Things pop into your head.
People
and
come to you.
People come.
New
Yes.
people. You guys have a story too.
Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah, we do. You came to me.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. That
So-
was someone introduced us or told us that we should get together and talk, and then
Yeah.
a whole lot of things happened
Yeah.
after that, and that was all positive.
I know it was, and you kept saying you were going to help me with my computer.
We'll be doing that.
She remembers a few things from the
Yes,
past.
she does. Yes, she does.
Oh, but speaking of the past, really, you should stay out of your past. You can get together and say, remember when, but then come back to the present. Regret and guilt is in the past. It's not in the present. It's not in the future. It's in the past.
That is part of thinking positive, is
Yes.
getting away from dwelling on the past.
Yeah.
And, well, that's one of the things you talk about too, is goal planning
Yeah.
and always having future goals
Yeah.
to keep drawing you along your life. That makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
And that
There's
means-
always something. Looking forward to the future is so important, because if you don't look toward the future, today is the day you live, but you look toward the future, because if you don't, you will reach a point in your life when you start living in the past, seeing the past, viewing the past as a time when you did all your living, you know, and it's all those years, and all you have is today, you know. So there's so much in your past, but there can be so much in your future. So you live today and don't look to the past. Nothing there. It's dead. Nothing there. Doesn't have any energy. Right?
Yes, and for me, when you say that, I think also it's helpful, I'll just speak for myself,
Yeah.
to remember there's always hope.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and there's a poem that I like, perhaps you know it, it's called Edges. When we walk to the edge of all the light that we have and take a step into the darkness of the unknown, we must believe one of two things will happen. There'll be solid ground to stand on, or we'll be taught how to fly. And, you know, some days I'd like to have a few more details, just like one. On the other hand, you know,
Yeah.
I think at this stage in life, I know that. I mean, it's something I live by. So it doesn't have specifics always, but it is
Yeah.
hopeful to me. It's like, well,
Don't have to be afraid of getting to the edge of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And hope is positive, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you feel there's an emotion with hope. And you know,
it's
you're
sort of
always
good
hopeful.
energy.
Yeah, it is good energy.
Yep.
It's
And
re-
I think positive thinking is good energy. You know, it really sends you forth.
I think
into the
hope
wilderness.
makes the future better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finding some pleasure in something that at first I didn't expect, and that is that my mother, about 5 years ago, at age 90, started showing a lot of signs of dementia. And not Alzheimer's, but just plain old dementia. And now she's 95, and I would say substantial amount of dementia. But you know, it's really interesting. She is very hopeful, very happy in the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking pleasure in enjoying those moments with her now.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it's not truly connecting in the way that it has been in our life. But it's really quite wonderful because she truly has forgotten a lot of the really hurtful things of her life and the disturbing things of her life. And when I'm with her, for the moment, it's really pleasant, and I'm so grateful for that
Nice.
opportunity.
There's something to be said for that, isn't there?
There is. It's really interesting to see.
And I'm just aware of the fact that you also choose to be grateful for that moment.
Oh,
If someone else could go, oh my gosh, I gotta go see Mom again today, or,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I just noticed.
Yeah.
okay.
That's a
thank you.
choice you
Yes.
made.
That
to be
is a
grateful.
choice, to be grateful for that moment,
Yeah,
yeah.
and really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Because there are some really delightful things that you can still share and do if you
Nice.
get plugged into that side of it in her life, because the people in the nursing home that she's in are fabulous, and I can enjoy their company with us. And so there's a lot that I can work with there too.
I can relate to that because I have a father in a nursing home, and he's 86 or 87, I lose track of that, but he's up there and he's in the later stages of dementia. And although it was devastating in the beginning because you're losing, we felt as a family we were losing, but as time went by and he, while he still knew what was going on, he chose to make the best of it and presented a lesson to us that I'll never forget, and we are enjoying those simple things now, exactly like you're describing it, and there can be some real joy and happiness in reforming your relationship with someone in that kind of a way. It's simpler, but it's nice.
And when I come over there, the minute I appear, and she sees me, she turns around and tells everybody, "This is my daughter." My daughter's here.
Isn't that wonderful
Nice.
that she recognizes you?
Yeah.
Right.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
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 I had this kind of the same experience with my father. My mom had some little strokes and was not able to be real positive at the end of her life, but he left the house to go to the nursing home and told us, well, this was a nice place to live, but I have to go on to better things. And he went to that nursing home, and he always wrote poetry and things like that, and sang, and he joined every group and did all those
Wow.
things, and
So he made the best of
He
it
made
and
the best of it.
participated, yeah.
Good
I
choice.
I think gratitude, before we get away
Yep.
from that, is a big part of
It is.
positive thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It-
Yeah, every night I go through a list and it's usually the same thing, you know. I'll add today, you know, in the beginning, but I'm grateful for my life and the health that I have and my children and grandchildren, you know, and my friends, but just to be grateful, to realize that this is very special, and to, if you weren't, you know, I'm grateful for just, we were talking about that today. The littlest things I am grateful for. And I think just waking up and there you are, hey, you know, you're alive and isn't that wonderful, you know? And in fact, every morning I say, before I get out of bed, I say, I am happy, healthy, energetic, and I enjoy being alive. I just want, you know, whether it's the universe, God, I want,
Yeah.
isn't it he? But I just want to declare this. And, you know, and if you wake up in the morning, you know you have something to do. Because if you don't wake up, it's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
But
have a little
to-
quote, I have a little
Another
quote about
quote,
the
yeah.
little things.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
see here.
Robert Brault. Enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize that they were the big
That
things.
they
Oh,
were the big
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I think that brings out the point too, that wisdom,
Yes.
Oh,
wisdom
yeah.
brings about the ability to be positive. I
Yeah.
think it's a certain amount of wisdom that helps with that.
I think so too, because when you're younger, you know, you
You
really,
just don't think about it as
you
much.
don't think about.
I'll do that later.
Yeah.
I'll
but
be
the
wise later.
Depth of life, yeah. And you were going to.
Children are wise.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, they really
The
are.
very young,
And they honor it, I
yeah.
think, until they
yeah.
are told maybe they're not, or they begin to doubt it. And I know we've done a lot of laughing here today.
Well-
Sense of humor is last
It
thing
is
on the
important,
positivity.
Yeah.
very
and-
important. And we've run out of time. This has
We have-
been so great. I think we could have gone on for another hour or so. This is fun. Joan and Louise, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for.
Thank you for
Thank you.
watching, and stay with us and see us next time.